Good morning, my MMA Boxing Addicts family. I want to get the day started today with just talking about some fight announcements when it comes to the UFC. If you guys didn't know, March 7th, live at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, we have a main event between Max Holloway, the BMF champion of the world, against Charles Oliveira. Yes, the number 2 ranked fighter in the world versus the number 3 ranked fighter in the world. A rematch, if you guys didn't know, that is stemming back all the way to 2015. Yes, 2015, Charles Oliveira in the first round suffers a shoulder injury. Max Holloway gets the win. Now we fast forward all the way to 2025. Both fighters in completely different positions. Both fighters have already been champion of the lightweight division. And in my opinion, makes for an absolutely ridiculous main event, my friends. But the fight announcements that I want to talk about, all right? Starting off with RDR. Yes, RDR, Reiner der Ritter, is going to be taking on Cal Borralho. You guys, it felt like just a couple months ago, we were talking about the tournament that was going down to see who was going to get the golden egg, who was going to get the fight against Hamza Chimaev. You had Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who was supposed to be taking RDR. He pulls out, in steps in Brendan Allen. You had Nasruddin Imavov, who fought Cal Borralho. Now we see it seems like Imavov might be the next fighter next in line, but they decided to set up this fight between both fighters who were participating in that little run tournament. Both fighters who lost, right? Cal Borralho lost to Nasruddin Imavov, put on a horrible performance. His chin was way up in the air. He hadn't been in the ring for about a year. I seriously thought that there was some ring rust in that fight, okay? Now, as for Brendan Allen and RDR got completely manhandled by Brendan Allen and decided to quit on the stool before heading into the 5th round. Yup, quit on the stool. Quit on the stool because he got too exhausted and too tired and was getting beat down. This is an exciting fight, my friends. It seems like, yes, both of these fighters, the winner of this, will not be next in line to get that, middleweight shot that they want to get, but it will put them very close. Possibly set up a fight with Brendan Allen. We know Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is facing Sean Strickland coming up, so it makes for a very interesting thing in this division. Now, not just that fight was added to the card. It seems like they're trying to build an all-Brazilian card because they also added Bruno Ferrer, who just beat Marvin Vettori, who was ranked number 15 in the rankings. I thought they were going to move Bruno Ferrer up. The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. I thought they were going to move him up to the number 15 rankings. They decided not to. They moved Joe Pyfer there instead due to him, being on a win streak, just favoritism. And now, Bruno Ferrer is going to be taking on the number 13 ranked fighter, Paulo Costa, Secret Juice, in that middleweight division. And to be honest with you guys, my friends, I love this fight for Bruno Ferrer. I love it. I think it's an all-Brazilian battle. I think Paulo Costa, yes, he's a great fighter, but the way he fights, it almost seems like Bruno Ferrer being a 3-time judo national champion, having ridiculous power, knocking out RoboCop in the first round in his debut. This is another ridiculously exciting fight. It's going to be action-packed between Bruno Ferrer and Paulo Costa, all right? Now, one more fight that I want to talk about that was added to UFC 326 March 7th, live at the T-Mobile Vegas Arena, in my opinion, is a great fight. 8 years in the making. 8 years. 8 years ago, Brian Ortega, before suffering numerous amount of injuries, shoulder injury, ACL tear in his knee, this fight was a great fight that he had with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, I thought, won the second round. I thought Brian Ortega won the first round. Going into the third, it seemed like Pacquiao was on his way to a victory, but Pacquiao decided to shoot a takedown. Brian Ortega was able to knock in that guillotine and submit him. Yes, in the third round. This happened in 2017. Almost 8 years later, Brian Ortega is moving up to the lightweight division. This fight that they took place back in 2017 was in the featherweight division, okay? Since then, Moicano decided to go up weight, had a couple fights at the lightweight division. This is Brian Ortega's first fight at this 155-pound division. Not his first fight, right? His last one was a catchweight. But this is his first official fight in this division as a lightweight fighter. And I am telling you guys right now, man, both fighters, obviously, Brian Ortega's what, 1-4 in his last 5 fights, 1 win and 4 losses, has dealt with a ridiculous amount of injuries, from his ACL tearing to his shoulder injuries, 2 different shoulder injuries, surgeries. It feels like we are on the tail end of Brian Ortega's career. Now, to be able to be facing Renato Moicano, who also is on a 2-fight losing streak, but completely different, right? He stepped in on, what, 24-hour short notice to face Islam Makhachev when Arman Tsarukyan decided to pull out the fight because of his back injury, right? Then he comes back and fights Beneil Dariush, loses that fair and square. Honestly, so far, UFC 326 is stacked, bro. If you don't know who none of these fighters are, you guys need to go do some research and tell me this is becoming a great card. I love Ortega versus Moicano. I love Bruno Ferreira getting a shot. And will, if he beats Paulo Costa, move to the number 13 position in the rankings, which I think is fair because he should have been ranked number 15, okay? Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. I don't even need to promote. I don't need to speak about fight. We all know who they are, man. This is going to be an absolutely exciting card taking place March 7th, UFC 326. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about these fight announcements, and I'm